Hugo in Third Strike is a character I really enjoy, but how good of a character he is honestly somewhat debatable. His toolkit in a vacuum is honestly not that great, but because of the nature of his character, he benefits more from good parries than the vast majority of the cast. Now, this is a big part of why I like Hugo, but to be fair, newer players who struggle with parrying might not enjoy him so much, because if you can't parry well, Hugo really does just kind of feel like a terrible character, which is unfortunate. Luckily, I have just the thing for you. See, while Third Strike Hugo feels like a pretty awful character if you struggle with parrying, Second Impact Hugo just genuinely is a terrible character. Doesn't matter how good you can parry, this guy just fucking sucks. Now, Second Impact is nowhere near as popular as Third Strike. There's not much documentation for the game at all, and not a lot of people play it, which is honestly really unfortunate. I love the little bit that I did play, even if it was with Hugo. Because of all this video wouldn't be possible without Heather. She's a Second Impact enthusiast who knows infinitely more about this game than I ever will. She was a massive help in teaching me about Hugo, getting examples of footage for the video, and she's even scripted and done some voiceover work for parts of this video. I really appreciate all of it, and I'll link her Twitter in the description. She was a massive help in making this possible. Now, Hugo is a really bad character in Second Impact. He has no even matchups outside of the Ditto. He loses to everyone in the game. That being said, he does have a few things over Third Strike Hugo. For a start, his jabs, which are one of his best features in Third Strike, are even better here. In Third Strike, Hugo can only chain 2 jabs if he wants to combo into Super 3, while in Second Impact, he can chain up to 5. Super 3 in general is really scary in Second Impact. In Third Strike, it hits on frame 4, but here it hits on frame 1, which makes it an amazing punishing tool. To be fair though, a lot of supers are like this in Second Impact. If Second Impact Hugo lands a light ultra throw or EX clap in the corner, then he kind of wins. He is an infinite. Now, while these are really the only 2 things that Second Impact Hugo has over Third Strike Hugo, we can't ignore the fact that that second thing, the corner infinite, is a really good thing to have. And on Third Strike Hugo in Third Strike, it would probably be completely ridiculous. But that's the thing. This isn't Third Strike. This is Second Impact. And in the context of Second Impact, this does not break the character in any way, shape, or form. Hugo is still definitively the worst character in the game, even with something as good as this. Hugo's win condition in the context of Second Impact just isn't anywhere near as scary as it seems. For example, compare it to Urien, whose win condition is just get Aegis, and if he builds enough meter and gets the hit he needs, he can just win right then and there. And for the record, Urien is only a mid-tier character. The top tiers in this game are absolutely insane. Akuma's win condition is pick Akuma on the character select screen, be the best character in the game in round 1, and then continue to be the best character in the game in round 2, but now with the added threat of demon setups. And then there's Yun, who, like Hugo, has an infinite, but unlike Hugo, doesn't need the corner, and isn't a terrible character who really struggles to put the opponent in the corner. Yun can start his infinite anywhere as long as he has Ganagin, thanks to an underflow glitch that essentially gives him infinite Ganagins. The execution is much harder, but it's infinitely more applicable than Hugo's infinite. So what I'm getting at here is that while there's no getting around the fact that Hugo having this infinite is a good thing, it's just not as good as you'd probably think in the context of Second Impact. And moving on from that, let's talk about something that isn't in Second Impact that hurts Hugo. Red parry.
Red parrying is an integral part of having to deal with pressure in Third Strike in a reactable manner. This makes dealing with Yangarkas a lot more manageable in Third Strike than in Second Impact as an example. This hurts characters who do rely on red parrying however, like Hugo. As a result, he has to take much bigger risks to deal with safe pressure. And in a game where Akuma or Yang pressure the cast for free, you can see where this becomes an issue. He could already get bullied on defense in Third Strike. Now he has to deal with that even harder where everyone's offense, except for his, is substantially stronger.
Now, I've already touched on how second impact Hugo's jabs are great, and they really are. They're very good moves, there's no getting around that, but unfortunately the same cannot be said for the rest of his normals. Compared to third strike, they're subtly worse in a lot of ways, having worse frame data, more recovery, and generally worse hitboxes, which is really unfortunate. If you're familiar with third strike Hugo, and then give second impact Hugo a try, you will really feel the difference in his normals. In my matches that I played with Hugo, it felt like stuff like jump heavy punch and standing medium punch were trading significantly more often than they did in third strike. Another notable difference in his normals is that Hugo's standing heavy punch overhead in third strike isn't his standing heavy punch in second impact. Hugo's standing heavy punch in second impact is his forward heavy punch in third strike, and the overhead that most people are familiar with as his standing heavy punch is close heavy punch in second impact. Overall, this is worse, I'd say, because even in third strike, Hugo's forward heavy punch is not a good move. Unlike third strike, Hugo's crouching heavy punch doesn't knock down, and his crouching heavy kick only knocks down if you hit it close. It doesn't at max range. It's genuinely amazing just how terrible Hugo's heavy buttons are. Standing heavy punch is not a good poke. It's slow and it whiffs on crouches. Standing heavy kick is an overhead, but it leaves you minus on hit, and a lot of supers can punish it. Crouching heavy punch also whiffs on crouches and leaves you punishable on hit. And crouching heavy kick, while it's not a great move in third strike either, in third strike it's an overhead. And here, it's just a mid, on top of the fact that it's still insanely unsafe, so it really doesn't do anything. Speaking of punishable on hit, let's talk about universal overhead. It might look okay, it's pretty quick and it goes a decent distance, but the frame data is awful. It leaves you minus 21 on block point blank and minus 10 on hit. It's crazy how bad this is. The only way this is going to be anywhere close to plus is if you hit it extremely meaty, and that's only on hit. You'll be punishable on block. Moving on to Hugo's specials, let's talk about Meat Squasher. Or the lack thereof. That's right, in second impact, Hugo does not have Meat Squasher. He got it in third strike. It doesn't exist here. Meat Squasher isn't the best move in third strike or anything, far from it, but it's still a key part of Hugo's kit. It's a running grab with rather low damage, only doing a bit more than a throw, but it gives you the corner from anywhere on the screen, which is huge for a grappler. Just having a tool like this adds a lot to Hugo's mix-up, and it gives the opponent a lot more to worry about, especially considering how rewarding it is to land. For example, he can sneak it in by cancelling a light normal into it. Or by going for it after a clap, where he's at massive frame advantage. It's also got less recovery on whiff than you might expect. Even if the opponent guesses right and jumps it, you can potentially punish their punish attempt. So yeah, not having Meat Squasher sucks, especially considering that, you know, it's a command grab that corners the opponent, and when Hugo does have the opponent cornered, that's pretty good for him, all things considered. Hugo's claps are significantly worse than they are in third strike. They're slower, have worse frame data, and also have more pushback on hit. This sucks because it makes it harder to push a mix-up, and it hurts your combos too. For example, in third strike, Hugo often does heavy clap, light clap, into crouching medium kick, and here, that doesn't work. You are in range for a standing medium punch, but even though the damage is good, you don't get a knockdown. You're just resetting neutral as a character with no neutral. In third strike, one of Hugo's strongest combos is heavy clap, medium clap, light lariat. In second impact, this only works in the corner, and it's significantly harder because heavy clap into medium clap is frame perfect, rather than being a 3-frame window. I can't lie, that took me about 17 tries. To be fair though, Hugo's EX clap is more useful here than it is in Third Strike. In Third Strike it's not that great of a move at all, but here, it's what enables his corner infinite, because using it in a juggle resets the juggle value. For some godforsaken reason, this was actually patched out in the Dreamcast port of the game, Street Fighter III Double Impact. So if a bottom 1 character with no winning or even matchups having one good feature is just, a bit too much for you, go play that. I mentioned it earlier when talking about claps, but outside of that one corner only frame perfect combo, Lariat really kinda does fucking nothing in this game. It's slow, unsafe, and you can't combo into it in any way. You can combo into the EX version of a crouching light kick, but you have to be very close to the opponent. Even in Third Strike, Hugo's anti-air game is a bit weird. None of his buttons are really designed to be anti-airs, so because of that, he has to rely on shoot down backbreaker. Now, shoot down backbreaker is interesting. It doesn't have a very good hitbox for beating jump-ins at all, so it'll often lose to them, but to compensate, it can't be air parried. Because of this, one of Hugo's most consistent anti-air options is parry into shoot down backbreaker. Shoot down backbreaker in second impact is absolutely fucking dreadful. That was the light version. It went absolutely nowhere. The medium version looks more like the light version from Third Strike. But here's the real kicker. They still have terrible hitboxes that often lose to jump-ins, but on top of that, they're now parryable. So there's not any kind of a mix here. They lose to jump-ins and air parries. What's the point of this? Ultra Throw is mostly the same as Third Strike, except it's better in the corner because that's how you get your infinite started, and it's worse everywhere else. Outside of the corner, all you really get after an Ultra Throw is a backbreaker, and that's honestly probably backbreaker's best use. Also, here's something pretty nutty. Unlike Third Strike, Second Impact actually has built-in widescreen support, which is really badass. It looks great, honestly. Unfortunately, it's got some problems, and one of them becomes apparent when you use Hugo's light Ultra Throw while cornered. This move should always cause a wall bounce, and if you're playing in 4x3, it does. But in widescreen, if you use it while cornered, the opponent doesn't actually reach the wall, and you just throw them full screen. SPD has slightly worse range, but it's still a very good move. See, the issue isn't that the move is bad in any way, shape, or form, it's just that it's on a much worse character, so you're gonna have less opportunities to land it in Second Impact. So overall, Hugo's specials are pretty fucking rough compared to Third Strike, but we're gonna move on to Supers now. We've talked about Super 3, but there's still Super 1 and Super 2. Heather's gonna take this one.
Gigas Breaker still exists in this game despite it not being Hammer Mountain. It's basically the exact same super as it is in Third Strike. This means he has a very valuable nuke super which helps a lot in Second Impact, as getting blown up for one error is very much important in a game where errors are very hard to blow up. This has the best range of his command grabs too, and can be done without having to buffer into it very reliably and very consistently due to his pre-super jump frames being higher than normal. In fact, even in Second Impact, I do prefer the super over Hammer Mountain. It's definitely not bad at all. Similar to Third Strike as well, Megaton Press is a quirky super you can use to feel special when you hop on Fightcade to go on a losing streak, against randoms who wonder why you haven't picked SA1 or SA3 already. It's a very useless anti-air super with a garbage hitbox, and ultimately, it doesn't matter when corner combos are best left to clap infinites, and not whatever awful damage SA2 might do by comparison.
Now, Hugo has one more weakness we want to talk about, and it's his hurt box, or more so the fact it's very big. Now, this is a weakness a lot of big characters share, and it usually leads to things like them struggling with zoning and such. But for Hugo, there's a bit more to it than that. For a start, he's the only character in the entire game that every other character can cross up in the corner. Now, that in itself is a big weakness, but there's something much more significant than that he has to deal with as well. And that's OTGs.
On a few characters, their kick throws will actually leave Hugo's hitbox intact as he's getting knocked down. Which means if you do a super after knocking him down with one, you get to OTG him. And unlike Third Strike, there is nothing Hugo can do about it. This works with NSA1, SA2, and SA3. Sean SA1, SA2, and SA3. Ryu SA1 and SA2. Akuma SA1, SA2, and SA3. And finally, Elena SA1 and SA2. This absolutely sucks for Hugo. The threat of him being a grappler becomes non-existent the moment those characters get meter. Because now they can pressure you with strike throw until they eventually land one, and do a number on your health as a result of it. Elena and Akuma already do amazingly well keeping Hugo out in the first place. And God forbid, Sean does scarily well pressuring Hugo and even has a semi-infinite on him. Yeah, in short, this character fucking sucks. Do not play him.
So yeah, that's Hugo in Street Fighter 3 Second Impact, and man, was he fucking rough. That's his first appearance in a Street Fighter game, and it was not a good one. There's no way around that. It's like the devs were so scared of putting a character like Hugo in a game with parry that they just did as much as they could to make him as bad of a character as possible. He is really, really rough, but luckily he significantly improved in Third Strike, so that's the version of Hugo I'll stick with. I like him. Again, massive thanks to Heather for helping me out with this. This video wouldn't have been possible without her. Oh shit, I did the cool thing. Hey,